hidden in your change, buried in old jars, or tucked away in grandpa's drawer, could be a fortune. Today, we reveal the top 6 bicentennial Lincoln and wheat penny rarities, their true values, surprising histories, and how you can spot them. First, UP. In 2009, to celebrate the 200th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, the United States Mint did something historic. For the first time in a century, the reverse design of the Lincoln penny was changed not just once, but 4 times in a single year. Each of these 4 designs reflected a different chapter in Lincoln's remarkable life. These coins were not just change in your pocket. They were small, everyday monuments to America's most beloved president. The obverse, or front, of each 2009 penny remained the same, with Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln that first appeared in 1909. But the back was entirely transformed, offering collectors and the public a rare opportunity to hold history in their hands. And what makes these 2009 Lincoln pennies even more special, that many of them were struck with no mint mark, especially those produced in Philadelphia. When you come across a 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint, which, unlike Denver or San Francisco, traditionally does not include a mint mark on most of its coins. Now, while millions of these coins were produced for circulation, many people held onto them as keepsakes, and finding uncirculated examples today with brilliant luster and no signs of wear is becoming increasingly rare. These uncirculated 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial pennies are more than just coins. They are physical timelines of Lincoln's journey from a humble log cabin to the White House. Let's walk through each of the 4 reverse designs released in 2009. The first design is known as the Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky penny. It features a simple log cabin, representing the place where Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809. This design symbolizes his humble beginnings and the values of hard work and simplicity that shaped him from the start. The second reverse design, called Formative Years in Indiana, shows a young Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book, with a mallet in one hand and a tool nearby. This image is powerful. It captures Lincoln's self-education and his early work as a rail splitter. He was a thinker and a laborer, and this penny design beautifully combines both. The third design is Professional Life in Illinois, where Lincoln is depicted standing in front of the state capitol in Springfield. This coin marks Lincoln's emergence as a lawyer, statesman, and representative. It tells the story of how a man from the frontier rose to political prominence by dedication, knowledge, and honest leadership. Finally, the fourth design, Presidency, in Washington, D.C., shows the U.S. Capitol dome under construction, symbolizing the unfinished work Lincoln faced as he led a divided nation through the Civil War. It's a poignant and powerful image, reflecting Lincoln's most difficult and impactful chapter. Now, what about the value of these coins? While circulated 2009 Lincoln pennies typically fetch face value in most conditions, uncirculated examples, especially those with strong luster, no contact marks, and sharp detail, are becoming increasingly collectible. A full set of all 4 2009 designs in uncirculated condition, with no mint mark, can sell for $3 to $5 or more depending on quality. Individual coins in pristine uncirculated condition, especially those graded Ms. 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGs or NGC, can command values of $5 to $15 per coin or even higher, especially if they show excellent strike and eye appeal. And here's something most people don't know. In addition to the standard copper-plated zinc coins, the U.S. Mint also released special versions of these 2009 pennies in 95% copper composition, similar to the original 1909 Lincoln cents. These copper versions were only available in special collector sets, not in general circulation. If you're lucky enough to come across a 2009 no mint mark copper penny in brilliant uncirculated condition, its value could easily jump to $10 to $25 or more if professionally graded. Another key factor collectors consider is strike quality. Many 2009 Lincoln cents, particularly from Philadelphia, suffered from weak strikes, soft details, and die deterioration. So when a sharp, well-struck, uncirculated coin shows up with no mint mark, full detail in Lincoln's face and the reverse design, and a flawless surface, that coin stands out. It's not just pocket change, it's a collector's piece. Next up, in 2009, the United States Mint issued a special one-year series of pennies to honor the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was a celebration not only of the man, but of the American values he stood for: hard work, perseverance, and rising from humble beginnings. These coins became known as the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial cents, and each of the 4 designs tells a chapter of Lincoln's life. Among them, the very first release in the series, the Birth and Early Childhood Penny, holds special historical and collector value, especially in uncirculated condition and bearing the D mint mark, representing the Denver Mint. The obverse or front of the coin still features the classic profile of President Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner in 1909. A portrait so iconic it has now remained on the penny for over a century. But what truly distinguishes this coin is its reverse, a simple log cabin set among trees, symbolizing Abraham Lincoln's birth and early years in Hardin County, Kentucky, now Lareau County, in the early 1800s. The scene is stark, rustic, and honest, just like the world Lincoln was born into on February 12, 1809. This design is more than a cabin. It is a tribute to modest beginnings, a reminder that one of America's greatest presidents started life in a one-room structure with no luxury, no privilege, and no guarantees. It represents Lincoln's core values of self-reliance, humility, and determination. The 2009 Birth and Early Childhood Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, and it carries the D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side. Unlike coins from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally lack a mint mark, coins from Denver are easily identified. In 2009, the Denver Mint struck over 350 million of these log cabin pennies for circulation. However, very few of them were saved in truly uncirculated, mint state condition. So, what makes an uncirculated 2009 Birth and Early Childhood penny valuable? In circulated condition, meaning it's been used and change, showing signs of wear, this penny is worth face value. But when the coin is found in brilliant and circulated condition, with no scratches, no fingerprints, and full mint luster, its value increases significantly among collectors, even more so if it has been professionally graded by services like PCGs or NGC, and received a grade of Ms. 65 or higher. A raw uncirculated example, without certification, but showing full red color and no wear, can sell for $0.5 to $2.0 depending on eye appeal and detail. But certified coins graded Ms. 66 or Ms. 67 can sell for $10 to $30 or more, especially if they show exceptional surfaces and strong detail. In fact, the highest graded examples, Ms. 68 red, have sold for over $150 in some auctions due to their scarcity at that level. These are the coins with zero contact marks, sharp strike, and flawless luster, the best of the best. Collectors also look for rare varieties. Some rare 2009 Lincoln cents show die cracks, extra thickness, or strike doubling on the cabin or text. These minting anomalies, though uncommon, add premium value for rare coin enthusiasts. But even beyond price, this coin holds educational and patriotic significance. It's a piece of American storytelling, a tiny reminder that greatness can come from the most humble places. The cabin on this coin isn't just a building, it's the birthplace of an American legacy. So, if you have a 2009 Birth and Early Childhood Lincoln Bicentennial penny tucked away in a roll, a folder, or a forgotten change jar, take a closer look. If it's uncirculated and gleaming with full red color, you may be holding onto a small piece of history with growing collector value. And remember, preserving its condition is key. Store it in a protective 2x2 holder. Avoid touching the surface. and keep it in a dry, temperature-stable environment to protect its luster and value over time. It may be small, faded, and forgotten, but every worn Karn Q coin has a story to tell. Today, we take a closer look at a simple yet historical coin that may be sitting in your pocket or hidden in an old jar, the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, in worn condition. Though it may not shine like silver or glitter like gold, this little piece of copper carries with it the weight of post-war America, and a design that has remained a favorite among collectors for over a century. The 1949 wheat cent, officially called the Lincoln cent, was struck just 4 years after World War II ended. The United States was transitioning from a wartime economy to a booming industrial power. The country was healing, building, and moving forward. And in that era of growth, the Lincoln penny quietly continued to circulate, a trusted, everyday coin in the hands of millions of Americans. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, V. Deber, can be found subtly on the reverse, near the rim. Lincoln's portrait, strong and timeless, was first introduced in 1909, and remains on the penny to this day. Above his head are the words, "In God We Trust." To the left is "Liberty," and to the right is the date 1949. Some examples will have a mint mark below the date, a small D for the Denver Mint, or an S for the San Francisco Mint. If there is no mint mark, your coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the iconic wheat reverse, which gives the coin its nickname, Wheat Penny. Two curved stalks of wheat frame the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. Above, in bold letters, it reads, E pluribus unum Latin for, of many, one. This reverse design was used from 1909 to 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. But what is a 1949 wheat penny in worn condition really worth? Well, millions were made. 217 million in Philadelphia, 153 million in Denver, and around 64 million in San Francisco. Because of this high mintage, 1949 pennies are common in circulated condition, and many are still found today in pocket change, coin jars, and old collections. In worn condition, meaning the coin has been heavily circulated and shows smooth surfaces, flat details, and discoloration. The typical value is 1 to 3 cents. These coins are not rare, but they are still special. They are relics of a time when candy cost a penny and gas was just 17 cents a gallon. They carry stories of hands they passed through, from soldiers returning home to factory workers and farmers across America. That said, collectors still hold value in worn coins, especially if the coin has no damage beyond natural wear. Even in low-grade condition, a 1949 wheat penny can be a great addition for someone building a date and mint set of Lincoln cents. However, condition matters. Coins with scratches, corrosion, deep discoloration, or cleaning damage may be considered damaged and not collectible. But even worn coins that age naturally with the soft, uniform brown tone are appreciated for their authenticity and history. On the other hand, uncirculated examples of the 1949 wheat penny, those that were never used and retain full mint luster, can fetch $2 to $10 or more, and professionally graded high-end coins in Ms. 66 red can sell for $50 to $100 or higher, depending on eye appeal and rarity. So, what should you do if you find a worn 1949 wheat penny? Hold on to it. It may not make you rich, but it's a genuine piece of American numismatic history. It's a coin that traveled through decades, through changing hands, through eras of hope, struggle, and progress. It may be worth only a penny, but the story it tells is priceless. In the palm of your hand lies a simple copper coin, easy to overlook, yet rich with history. Today, we explore the story and value of the 1967 United States 1-cent coin, better known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, in fine condition. It's a coin that's common in circulation, but carries the legacy of a transformative period in American history. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. His image has stood the test of time, making the Lincoln cent the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. To the left of Lincoln's profile is the word Liberty, and to the right is the date, 1967. Above his head, as always, is the national motto, "In God We Trust." But look closely, you'll notice something missing. There's no mint mark beneath the date. That's not a mistake. In fact, it's part of a unique decision the U.S. Mint made during the mid-1960s. At the time, the United States was experiencing a coin shortage, largely driven by rising silver prices and growing public interest in coin collecting. In an effort to stabilize the coin supply and discourage hoarding, the U.S. Mint decided to remove mint marks from all coins minted in 1965, 1966, and 1967, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Every 1967 penny you find will lack a mint mark. It's a product of its time, a result of economic pressure and strategic minting policy. While this makes it harder to determine where a 1967 penny was struck, it also makes the coin unique in U.S. numismatic history. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, the iconic monument in Washington, D.C., which first appeared on the back of the penny in 1959, commemorating Lincoln's 150th birthday. Between the columns, if you look closely, you can even see a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, the only U.S. coin to feature the same person on both sides. Above the memorial, the inscription reads United States of America, and just below that is the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning love many, one. At the bottom, the denomination is boldly stated, 1 cent. Now, let's talk about value. The 1967 Lincoln penny was struck in copper-plated bronze, consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives the coin its rich brown-red color. In total, the U.S. Mint produced over 3 billion Lincoln cents in 1967, more than 2.2 billion in Philadelphia alone. Because of this high mintage, the 1967 penny is very common, especially in circulated condition. In fine condition, meaning moderate wear, visible details, and no major damage, this coin is typically worth just face value, or around 1 to 3 cents. Today, we're diving into the world of a coin that's nearly a century old, the 1929 Lincoln wheat penny. In bad condition. Though scratched, worn, or darkened by time, it's still a small piece of American history that survived the Great Depression, World War II, and everything in between. Let's begin with the basics. The 1929 wheat cent is part of the long-running Lincoln wheat penny series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. On the obverse, or front, you'll find a profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This same portrait, introduced in 1909, is still used on pennies today, making it the longest-running coin portrait in U.S. history. To the left of Lincoln is the word Liberty, and to the right, the date, 1929. Below the date, you might see a small mint mark, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. If there's no mint mark, the coin was struck in Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat ears reverse, 2 curved stalks of wheat, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. At the top is the phrase E pluribus unum, where for out of many, one. Now, let's talk mintage. In 1929, the United States Mint struck 185 million wheat pennies in Philadelphia, no mint mark, 41.7 million in Denver D mint mark, 50.1 million in San Francisco S mint mark. Combined, over 276 million pennies were produced that year, making the 1929 penny fairly common among early wheat cents. But what happens when that coin is in bad condition? A 1929 wheat penny in poor, heavily circulated or damaged condition, meaning it's worn nearly flat, has corrosion, pitting, major scratches, or discoloration, holds mostly historical and sentimental value. In the coin market, this condition typically falls into the good G4 or about good Ag3 range. The design is visible, but all major details are worn down, and many features are faint or missing. In this state, the coin's market value is typically 1 to 5 cents, depending on exact wear and the mint mark. A 1929D or 1929S may be slightly more desirable, but the difference in value is minimal in bad condition. That said, some collectors still enjoy holding these pieces as part of date and mint sets, especially when filling slots in classic Lincoln cent albums. Even the most worn 1929 wheat penny connects you to the world of 96 years ago. When Herbert Hoover became president, the stock market was about to crash, and America stood on the brink of the Great Depression. What causes a penny to reach such bad condition? The answer is time and use. These coins have passed through countless hands, survived decades in circulation, and were often stored loose in damp drawers, basements, or jars. Exposure to moisture and air causes corrosion. Improper cleaning with abrasives or chemicals damages the surface, and heavy wear slowly erases details. While a 1929 penny in poor shape won't make you rich, it still has educational and collectible value. It's a great coin for beginner collectors, history students, or anyone who enjoys the feel of old American money. In your pocket change or tucked inside an old coin jar, you might find a copper coin that looks like any other penny, but it's not. This coin carries a story, a tribute to a president, a nation in transition, and a legacy carved in metal. Today, we explored the 2009D Lincoln Presidency Bicentennial Penny, found in fine condition, circulated, slightly worn, but still proudly telling the tale of Abraham Lincoln's final chapter. In 2009, the United States Mint released a special one-year series of 4 pennies to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. Each coin in the series represents a different stage of Lincoln's life: his birth and early childhood, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and the one we focus on today, his presidency in Washington, D.C. The Presidency design is the 4th and final release in the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial series. On the reverse, you'll see an image of the U.S. Capitol dome, but it's not the dome we know today. It's still under construction, just as it was during Lincoln's presidency. The partially built dome is deeply symbolic. It represents a nation divided, but also a nation moving forward, striving to complete what it had begun. Just like Lincoln's efforts to preserve the Union during the Civil War, Lincoln never saw the finished dome. It was completed in 1866, a year after his assassination. Yet this image, the incomplete Capitol, reminds us of Lincoln's unfinished work: equality, unity, and the healing of a broken country. The obverse, or front of the coin, remains unchanged, bearing Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln that first appeared on the cent in 1909. The date 2009 appears to the right of Lincoln's bust, and just below it is the D mint mark, indicating this particular coin was minted in Denver. The Denver Mint struck approximately 198 million of these presidency design pennies in 2009. That's a large mintage, making the coin common in circulation, especially in worn or fine condition. So, what exactly does fine condition mean? In coin grading terms, fine condition F12 indicates moderate circulation. The coin has visible wear, but the major details are still clearly readable. On the obverse, Lincoln's outline and facial features are worn, but visible. On the reverse, the Capitol building shows general detail, though finer lines and architectural features may be faint or partially smoothed out. In this condition, the collector value is modest. A 2009D Presidency penny in fine condition typically sells for around 1 to 5 cents, depending on eye appeal. It may not bring high dollar value, but it remains historically meaningful, especially to collectors assembling the full 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial set. That said, this coin can be more valuable in better grades. In uncirculated mint state condition, especially with strong red color and no marks, the value can rise to $1 to $5 or more. Certified examples graded Ms. 66 or higher by PCGs or NGC may fetch $10 to $20 plus, depending on rarity of quality, and there's something else worth noting. A small number of errors and die varieties exist for the 2009 Presidency penny. These include die cracks, struck through errors, and doubling on the capital dome or lettering. If you come across an odd-looking coin, it's always worth a closer inspection under magnification and potentially worth far more than face value. So, what should you do if you find a 2009 Lincoln Presidency penny in fine condition? You may not get rich, but you do hold a piece of America's story. This coin honors the most critical chapter in Abraham Lincoln's life, his time as president during the nation's darkest hour. Even in circulated, worn condition, this penny is part of a powerful tribute to the values of unity, leadership, and perseverance.